It's my pleasure now to introduce. We have a special address from the Minister from Pakistan, and it's delightful to have the Minister join us. We've had a few fun and games, but she's with us. So, Minister, I'll hand over to you to give us your closing remarks and your thoughts around our topics for our conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to just say that I'm traveling. So, in case the video or audio is disrupted, I apologize. Um, so, Excellencies, ministers, youth workers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the invitation to contribute to the fourth Youth Work Conference. Your meeting is timely, and 2 months, as in 2 months' time, Commonwealth Youth Ministers will meet in London for their 10th meeting. As we meet to celebrate on the way forward for young people in Commonwealth and to address the important aspects of governance, we will consider how to bridge the gap between practice and policy. The main case studies and best practice examples shared in this conference demonstrate the rich diversity of youth work practice across the Commonwealth. It is therefore imperative that our policies are not just well intentioned ideals, but rather practical, evidence based solutions that address the real world challenges faced by the young people. To achieve this, we must establish effective mechanisms to translate practice into policy. First and foremost, it is crucial to recognize the value of research and evidence gathering. We cannot create meaningful policies without deep understanding of what works and what does not work. As ministers, we must invest in rigorous research, data analysis, and engagement with youth work experts and practitioners. By doing so, we can identify successful practices and interventions that deserve to be translated into policies. However, research alone is not enough. We must actively engage with the youth work practitioners and young people who are at the forefront of implementing these practices. As you, as youth worker, possess invaluable knowledge and experiences that can guide youth policy decisions. Through stakeholder engagement, we can tap into your expertise, incorporate your insights, and ensure that policies are rooted in practical realities. To facilitate this dialogue between practice and policy, we need to create robust knowledge exchange platforms. Our ministerial meetings, forums, and conferences at national, regional, and Commonwealth level can create such platforms. The conference is a wonderful example of this time of knowledge exchange platforms. These platforms should bring together policymakers, practitioners, researchers, and community representatives. By fostering collaboration and sharing experiences, we can create an ecosystem of mutual learning and understanding. Conferences, workshops, policy forums, and online networks, we can bridge the gap and foster a dynamic. Be equipped, and senior officials need to be equipped with the knowledge and skills to understand and apply evidence based practices. Likewise, youth workers should be provided with opportunities for professional development that include policy processes and advocacy. Strengthening the capacity of both groups will enhance collaboration and bridge the gap between their respective domains. Let us not forget that the journey does not end with policy implementation. Continuous learning and adaptation are essential. We must remain open to new evidence, feedback, and evaluations. Policies should be dynamic, capable of evolving as we learn from practice and adjust our strategies accordingly. By embracing flexibility and adaptability, we can ensure that our policies remain effective and responsive to the ever changing needs of our society. Lastly, knowledge dissemination plays a critical role in bridging the gap. We must communicate our research findings and policy decisions effectively. Policy briefs, research publications, online platforms, and partnerships with media outlets can help disseminate knowledge widely. By doing so, we enable practitioners and policymakers alike to access and apply evidence based practices, leading to more informed and effective policymaking. I would like to share two examples from Pakistan's experience. What we've seen in Pakistan is that, for example, we have a national youth council, and in the National Youth Council, we have about 33 very vibrant and very high achieving young people represent all areas of Pakistan, the diversity. We actually celebrate diversity there. We ensure that we have a good gender balance. Pakistan is a very diverse country in terms of geography, in terms of linguistics. So we try to involve everyone there, and all of these young people have expertise in their own areas. So someone, let's say, is an expert, they have a startup, or someone is an expert of sustainable development. Others are experts in education. So the idea is to have all of these people on board, give them a seat on the table, and to hear them out, to hear their issues and hear their ideas about what youth work actually looks like, what are the challenges that they're facing, and that really helps us incorporate their ideas into the policy making forum. Another area, so our Prime Minister's Youth Program, that is a special initiative of the Prime Minister of Pakistan. It's been running for the last 10 years directly under the leadership of the Prime Minister himself. And one of the E's, so we run under 4 E's: employment, education, environment, and the last one, which is very pertinent over here, is engagement. The idea in positive activities, and once we have them together, for example, in sports, for instance, we have youth clubs related to climate change, to get them into these positive activities. And once we get them engaged in these activities, we're better able to get a feedback from them. We create direct linkages with them so that we can hear back from them. So this is something that we feel has proved to be very effective. Lastly, we're in the process of legislating a National Youth Commission, because youth is a very cross-cutting subject, and we're talking about policy and implementation here. We feel that our different ministries, like Ministry of Industries, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Human Rights, etc., all of these ministries, youth is such a cross-cutting subject that when we talk about policy and its implementation, when we talk about research, when we talk about evidence gathering, all of these ministries have to collaborate and work together if we want to come up with something which is meaningful and impactful for our young people. So that National Youth Commission will enable all these relevant ministries to sit on one platform, discuss, for instance, what is the Ministry of Industry's next 5-year policy. So that Ministry of Education, Ministry of technical and vocational training can follow that suit and prepare young people according to what and similarly, getting all of these people on the same table will in a policy for young people. So for Pakistan, 10 years of Prime Minister's Youth Program, that brings us closer to the practical evidence-based policies that our young people deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. It was we heard most of what you said, and if you could, we appreciate your perseverance, and I know you're traveling, so very busy. What I heard through that speech was practice into policy, and maybe less the other way around. Often policy is driving practice, and actually what we need to do is drive from what young people need first, which is practice driving policy. So I heard that message over and over again. So, Minister, thank you so much for joining us, and we really appreciate your time. Okay, we put this. So I think now it's over to Lane. Yeah. Give it up for Lane Robinson. Woo!
So the minister from Pakistan will actually assume the chairmanship, minister from Uganda, tomorrow. And so she will be taking over as the minister responsible for youth, which is why she wanted to make sure she shared to say what we discussed here. The practice will be translated into policy. What I'll do here is just to give, from our Commonwealth standpoint, how we're going to go forward. Because coming to the end of the conference now, I think the question is, well, where do we go from here? We have these wonderful opportunities to meet, to discuss. Well, I'll share a little bit about what the Commonwealth hopes we could do, but it may not be in full because we will be meeting with our ministers in another 8 weeks or so. But this is where we have come so far. So I'll share a little bit about that. I'll run through very quickly so you could read this on your own, so I won't spend too much time. First thing is, this year is the year of youth. It's a wonderful opportunity given by all of us. You can, as a good excuse for, promoting youth work, say it's a year of youth. Our heads have committed themselves to a whole year of youth development. Given that it's 50 years of CYP, but it's a whole year. So we can use as an excuse the fact that it's a year of youth, and why not invest in youth development? And there are other reasons as well. We're halfway to the SDGs, some would argue, that are not going to be fulfilled now. And I'm hearing this morning on a call that the amount of investment needed to get us to the SDGs is astronomical. So we are behind. So we are halfway there and we're not making progress. But it's also the 50th anniversary of the CYP. It's the 10th anniversary of the CYC you heard from Kim. And incidentally, it's also the 10th anniversary of the Commonwealth Charter, a charter which has in its core that youth are important to the Commonwealth. It's important from that angle. Very quickly as well. So in this year, we want to drive youth development. And, all the words you can use, it just means we want to raise up youth work, we want to raise up youth work practice, we want to raise up young people and have that work become much better known coming out of a very bad pandemic that set the work on youth, maybe some would argue 10 years or 5 years. So in this year, the task force that is working on this has talked about energizing the youth work sector, empowering and visioning and engaging young people all along that pathway. And we are trying to drive that through. And it's not a Commonwealth Secretariat or CYP job. That's our job to do. How do we use this year to drive, investment and focus to youth development? Very quickly. We have been working so far, so you'll notice some of the things that have happened since the year started. We launched in January. Can't believe it's just January when we launched and said we will have the Youth Work Conference in. We were wondering, oh my God, are we going to make it? We're here now. So we have been doing a lot of very good work, and some of them are images there. We had a meeting with Minister in New York with us at UN ECOSOC, where we launched and talked about youth and youth practice in New York, or it's in the grassroots, or it's helping young carers, as a group we have never really engaged with for a while, forever, really, but young carers were going through so much. We had an online platform with young carers from all over the world, Japan, United States, trying to eke out the fact that young carers at this time need our support. And so on. So there's a lot of, we had Malaysia, I put Malaysia one there because the Malaysia team had their graduation in London where youth workers are coming through. So we have been working over the year, but there's much more to be done. Some of these images are meetings we had with the foreign ministers. We are saying to foreign ministers, they need to change the level of discourse at the foreign ministers' table in diplomatic spaces. So we had a full session with young people talking to our foreign ministers about the understanding about diplomatic relations and democracy and so on. We had a meeting with the WHO on mental health, with the WHO and young people talking about how we're going to work with the WHO to move that along. This one here was a meeting on sports, looking at the role that sports can play in moving the agenda along. It's a fantastic resource in sport. And so we've been engaging in all of these platforms. At the top there, you have something which is an ongoing feature of the year, which is the Marlborough House Dialogues, where important and influential people that are in there are committing themselves to working with and supporting young people. So we are working through the year, and this is only a snapshot of some of the things that are going on. But this started last year, and this image is one that some of the guys here have talked about, which is we had an intergenerational dialogue with the heads of government, where some of the actors in the room here, some of the associations, some of the alliance members, some of the young people sat with President Kagame, and they were sharing and exchanging ideas about the importance of non-formal learning approaches, importance of youth. And that is why our leaders sort of said, we need a year of youth. Let's invest in it. So we're making progress. It's just that it's slow. If you need much more information, time will not allow, but you can just go to the website. You can use the website as a place to see information, but also to connect. It's a place where you can see what the calendar of events are, reach out to those who are doing it. It's a place doing activities in the year. It's a place where you can, put some activities that you want to do that connects to the year of youth. There's an expression of interest form there that you can complete that then goes in to help us understand what are you doing and how can we connect you with somebody else who's doing something else all over the world. And we are getting a lot of requests, and we have some more project managers for the year of youth in the room. I'm going to ask them to just stand up so everybody can see you. So when your ideas come through, you have Donna here. Azmin is out of the room. Oh, we have Nazi up there. Nazi, so you're standing up there as well. Azimin, who you've seen running around, where is he? He's out of the room. When he comes back, and then Hassan, he's not here. He just had to go a little bit this afternoon. So we have some team that is working to make sure these things are fulfilled in the year, and it's not just for a thing. And then last year, also at the CHOGM, this is where we heard from Nelson about the launch of the Alliance. What was the Alliance? It's the bringing together of the Big Six and others who can help drive youth development across the Commonwealth even more, adding to what we already are doing. And I'm fantastically proud about what the potential of what this new network for collaboration really is. And they are signing an MOU with the Secretary General to say, we want to work to reach 100 million young people or more with our programs and initiatives over the year, but as we try to deliver on youth development. And so our youth program, I haven't talked too much about it, but for those, as you leave here, you should know what the youth program does. Our youth program is 50 years old this year, and our theory of change, which is just a simple picture of it here, says we work with, we work to bring thought leadership, new ideas like this conference, facilitate connections and collaborations. Our work is to build capacity. Our work is to demonstrate and inspire. When we find something great that's happening somewhere, we showcase it, put a spotlight and say, hey, come and look what they're doing over here. So we're doing all of that. We work with our youth workers. That's what this conference is about. It's in that stream of our work where we work with youth workers. But we also work a lot with our ministries. And over the years, we have seen many Commonwealth countries now have ministries or departments of youth, where before there was none. We work with our regional organizations. So a lot of what we are talking about here in this Commonwealth meeting, how is it being reflected at the regional level, in the AU, at CARICOM? Where is it? So at the regional level, we need to do that work. And then we have our young people. You've met our CYC chair, and there are many others who are working. And that's our model for how change will happen at the grassroots. That sustained and catalytic change will not happen by us sitting in an office in London. It happens because we have connected with a youth worker, with a minister, with a youth leader. Our idea is if we can inspire that change here, that change will happen. We don't have country offices in the Commonwealth. The country office is you. You are the Commonwealth. Those of you who are from Commonwealth countries, that is. You are the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is you. It's not me, it's not CYP, it's each one of you here. And therefore that individual commitment to do something is how that change will happen in the grassroots. And somebody said to me, why do we have the young people at the grassroots at the top? Because that's the most important part, actually. It's not the Commonwealth that should be at the top. It's not a top-down model. It's really that we are trying to put those people there, the young people, right at the pinnacle of what we are doing. And so our work is not just in youth work. There's other things that we do, youth policy, and we're pushing a lot on mainstreaming youth now, because we see it as a strategy for getting governments in trade, in business, in justice systems, all different governments thinking and acting youth. We do employment because employment is a big issue, still remains the biggest crisis in the world. Don't know why people are not making a bigger noise about it, but there's a huge youth unemployment crisis in the world, and I just don't wonder why we're not making a lot of talk about it. But youth work, you hear us talk a lot about youth work. We keep doing that as a mainstay of our work. And we have an active work on youth participation. But increasingly, we have a lot of cross-cutting themes in climate change, in mental health, in sports, in education. A lot of our work is cross-cutting across those themes. And so we shared this publication with everybody who wanted one. It's downloadable. It just gives you a snapshot of across the Commonwealth, where is youth work right now? And when you read it, it's not a pretty picture. We are far off where we want it to be at this point in our journey. We need to accelerate and catch up where we are. Most countries don't have an association. Most countries don't have an education or an NYA that trains. Most countries don't have so many things. We're way off. That's what the baseline says to us. We're going to do another baseline report, another report on this baseline to see if we've made progress. But I feel already we will not make progress. We will actually have gone backwards in some of our indicators. But that report gives you. The other way we measure progress in this space is around the Youth Development Index. And this is our third iteration of the Youth Development Index, came out in 2020. And what this index is if you know the Human Development Index, it's the youth equivalent of that. And we are measuring youth development in 6 domains now. We have improved since the first edition. What is youth development? What is happening to our young people in health and well-being, in education, in equality, in peace and security, in political and civic participation, and in employment and opportunity. So we are able to measure at a glance 180 plus countries and to see, are we making progress? Is youth development getting better or getting worse? It's very interesting to see how that fills out. But here is what I really think this conference has helped us to do, So we've been thinking about this collaborative model of bringing these different actors together many of whom are in this room. If we could all work together to enhance and strengthen youth work in the country member states, this will be what will help us. NYA, of course, very strong partner with us. The Consortium for Education, a lot of academics are in the room. We're going to hear from one soon. The Alliance, you met some of them, new members. It's the youth, the CYC, CSA, and others, we need them. Kiowa, we heard a lot about Kiowa this week. The CYP itself, we are one actor. We are only one, we can't do it all. And of course, a new one, PALIQ. This is our lecturers and academics who are working in a university. So we think we can, if we are working together successfully, we can actually begin to move the dial along at country level. So that's our thinking, that's our plan. Just to conclude now, here are some tools that we will try to use as we go forward. And some of them are practical things that we need to employ. Firstly, the index. It's a tool that you can just say, you know, where's your country on the index? That's what I always start off with. Do you know that your country is number 89 on the Global Youth Development Index, or that you have regressed on the index? And when I say that, everybody says, oh, what do you mean my country is, or who is ahead of me? Who's behind me? It's an advocacy tool, it's an entry point. And then I can say, well, if you want to go up the index, here's what you need to do. So it's a conversation starter, if nothing else. Youth Work Week. We partner with NYA and Kiowa every year to have Youth Work Week. 1 week in the whole of the Commonwealth dedicated to promoting and affirming youth workers and youth work. Now we need to do a lot more to galvanize Youth Work Week. Every year in November, we need to see everybody waving the flag of Youth Work Week, celebrating youth work. It can't just be at a conference every 2 years. It must be every year or every month of the year, but at least in November. So this year we're going to look out for Youth Work Week. Youth Worker Awards. We need to put that face to youth work. Some of you are excellent youth workers. Nobody knows your name. They need to know your name, what you stand for, why you're doing it. It's important because when they see that, they understand its character and the work you do. We need to, build back the youth work. And so many of you here could be award winners because you're living and doing excellent work. The legislation, I talked about it with our ministers. We have to work on our legislation. In the Commonwealth, certainly we don't have safeguarding legislation. But we now have a position of trust legislation that we hope we can roll out in countries alongside youth work acts that are, not in any Commonwealth countries right now, apart from Malta. We talk a bit about competency standards. NYA has some standards, Malaysia has some standards, but most countries don't have a clear set of competency standards. Well, we have a Commonwealth set that you can take and modify and adapt in your country context. So that's a tool again. Pathways. A lot of the young people say to me, where do I go if I want to, continue my journey in the youth development sector? So that's something else that we are building on, marketing youth work to make it attractive for younger people and other people coming into the profession from our school system. Ethical standards goes without saying, youth work, if nothing is about the character we have. The Youth Work Conference, we will continue to do the conference and you will hear a bit more about that. I'm going to ask Deputy Vice Chancellor to get ready, just to come shortly. And then our Youth Development Journal. So a lot of the papers from here will also be placed in our Youth Development Journal. That comes out of UNISA. The first place we had our conference was in UNISA. And we're working with them to have some of your papers placed in that journal. It's an academic journal, peer-reviewed journal that you can use and circulate and share. It's an online journal that will be made available as well. And we have so many innovative practice models that we heard in this conference. It's blowing our minds. Lots of resources and tools, they are there, you can see them. But this is the key here, so you can understand how this works. So there are 3 main groups we work with, and we have a cycle of meetings that work together. Well, first of all, our ministers will meet, and they meet every 4 years. And when we have the ministerial meetings, the ministers take the charge, and they tell the story. We listen to them. They guide the policy direction. But then the scenario changes, and we are in our youth forum, which meets every 2 years at the heads meeting, and the young people are in charge of the conversation. And the ministers and the youth workers, we listen to them. And then we have our youth worker conference every 2 years where the youth workers, you share, and our ministers come and they listen, and our young people come and they listen. So we are in each time on the same journey, but from a slightly different perspective, and we have to listen to each other if we're going to go in the same direction. So a cycle of meetings work together to help us to create that journey and to help us to listen along there. So in final thing now, where do we go? How do we influence the policy? And I put here just for the headline so you know what's coming up in the years to come. Firstly, the conference. This was when I did this before. The conference is now, it's happened, it's done. And we've talked to our ministers and it's one little part of the conversation. But then in September, right here in the UK again, from the 11th to the 15th, we will have the 10th Youth Ministers meeting, chaired by Pakistan. They will host the meeting here. And here's where we're going to look at changing the policy or adding to the policy or navigating a new policy, youth policy in the Commonwealth to take us forward. My thinking is a lot of the conference material that you discussed here, we need to think strategically about using that in the ministers' meeting. And the ministers are here to help us with that. But we also have our education ministers. A lot of what I heard as well is that we can help our education ministers do more, do better with non-formal education and learning. So our education ministers will meet next year as well. It's a policy space for influencing the change that we want to see. We heard a lot about sports, and some of the examples were here about sports. We will host a sports ministers meeting in Paris next year, all things being well. And the idea there is, how do we use sports to amplify a lot of the youth work we have? So these are those opportunities, I think. Our young people will meet in Samoa, our heads will meet in Samoa. It looks far away, but if we're going to change policy, how I see it, it starts now. You start building those arguments, those messages, those alliances now. So in a year's time, the oven, it's baked and ready to go. And then you just deliver and then you share. So we have to work on that if we're going to do that now. The advocacy, the negotiation in your countries with your partners, that starts now to say we can target Samoa 2024, but what do we need to do in my country to get my head of state to commit to something? That starts now. It doesn't start 3 months before the conference. I can't do it then. If you start now, we build to the end of this year. We build until next year. You go, the heads are seasoned and ready to make a decision in favor of whatever you think is the right way forward. And then Jamaica, we hope, should host the 2025 Youth Work Conference, Youth Ministers meeting. And then the conference. I'm going to ask Malaysia to come to tell us what do we want to do for Youth Work Conference 2025. So I'll yield to our Deputy Vice Chancellor to be the final word. And where do this conference go next?
Okay, thank you very much, Lynn, honorable ministers, my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First, I think this is one of the best conferences that I've attended. Can we give a big hand to the organizer? Thank you very much. We learned a lot. And in these 3 days of conference, we talk about recognition, legitimization, professionalization of youth work practitioners. That is the spirit that we are going to continue to work for and to discuss in Malaysia. So I humbly would like to invite everyone to Malaysia for our 5th conference of youth work, and it will be held in between Kuala Lumpur, our capital city, and Putrajaya, our administrative city. So again, thank you very much. Thanks for the trust. See you all in Malaysia.
We're nearly there, folks. This is the last little bit. I can see you slightly, it's been a long 3 days. I don't know if your feet are hurting as much as mine. I have superpowers. I can actually, I can raise the lighting to its highest setting. See, I'm hoping the black chap at the top will do that. So I'm going to wake you up. Here we go. Right, what I want you to do, just to make sure you're all awake, I want you to start stamping your feet. Nice and slowly, not particularly quick. Just going to stamp our feet. I'm going to get a little bit quicker. A little bit quicker, and a little bit quicker, and as fast as you can. Go, 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 go. Thank you. I hope that's woken you up a wee bit, but also that is the noise of a stampede. And we, as a group of amazing practitioners and academics and ministers and policy setters, we can make an absolute huge difference by being a stampede of change. So I thank you for indulging me in my little wake up moment. We started this conference with this very slide, which is youth work as a global family. And I just wanted to touch on a few things, and I got a few thank yous, and then we'll get you on your way as quick as we can. So to ministers, high commissioners, distinguished guests, and everybody who's come. So thank you so much for joining us here in the UK. When we got the call and the tap on the shoulder saying, would you host this event? We were very, very excited. It's a huge honor and a privilege. The opportunity to shine a light on our profession and the difference that we make for young people is just one we couldn't miss. So I'm very grateful to all the sponsors and the funders and the UK government who've helped pay for this and put it together. Because I know they're online, so thank you, folks. And so we're very pleased with that. The one most powerful thing I think we can do, what we do as youth workers, is that we connect with people. Youth workers have an amazing ability to build relationships, that break down barriers, to sweep away whatever's getting in the way of making the right difference to young people and their communities, their parents. There's often a phrase that's used, possibly too much, that it takes a village to raise a child. And we are a village, and we are a village of experts and passionate people who want to raise many children to the best they can be and give them every opportunity. Youth work is about relational practice. It's about how we engage and connect with each other. It's about how we sit down and we build a rapport. It's about how we understand our differences and what keeps us apart, and we get rid of those things so we can bring ourselves closer and closer together. And the closer we are together, we can achieve greater things. And in the modern world, in post-pandemic, as I talked a bit earlier, in a digital world, we are closer than we can ever be. As much as it still takes hours on the flights, and for those that have travelled halfway around the world, and we're incredibly grateful. But actually, we can still connect through video calls. We can have a phone call, and that's never been easier to be able to do. And our ability to connect, and I think the legacy of this conference is the ability. I mean, my bag is full of books and articles and things that you've given us, and the conversations you want. My inbox is flooded with can we do this, can we do that, can we share this, can we share that, and so I want to touch on that. We're really committed to sharing the wealth of knowledge and expertise from this conference way beyond this event. So we will be moving everything into a sort of a conference event archive, where I hope when the Commonwealth's 100th anniversary of its youth programme comes up, and I really do hope there's 100. I mean, I won't be here, I'm sure. I'll be 95, but I might be in my nursing home with some super spatial thing on, doing all sorts of things that no one's ever heard of. But I really hope when they look back in 50 years' time at the 100th anniversary, they can come and say, well, what were they talking about in 2023? What were the debates? What was the dialogue? Who were the experts? What were they sharing? What was the experience of those young people? And how did that all hang together? So how has that changed? Because 50 years ago, the world was very different to it is today. And so we want to keep that archive live and available for future generations to explore. This conference has been about learning from one another, and if I've heard one thing very loudly, whether it's over lunch or dinner or maybe last night in the bar, maybe it's very much around how I've met some really interesting people. I've looked at various websites that I didn't know existed. I've found all sorts of tools, and this will really help strengthen what we do when we go home and whatever we do. So our ability to learn from each other, our ability to connect with each other, I think is remarkable and an absolute legacy of this event. And as Lane sort of touched on, the whole point, I think, of the Commonwealth of Nations, 56 countries, a third of the world's population, 1.5 billion young people, is about connecting us together. It's about making us, as human beings, as civilizations, more civilized and more connected and supportive. So I thank you for all that. One thing I think has also been lovely, and this has been the first, for us, the biggest thing we've probably ever done. But while there's 200 plus in the room, there's been nearly 1,000 people watching online. We did hit the 1,000 sign-ups on the online virtual conference, which is amazing. And is to absolutely be celebrated. And what that's allowed us to do is to bring together a really diverse audience that you wouldn't normally get. Very few events that I get to do where ministers come, where you have high commissioners, where you have national bodies, where you have practitioners, academics, young people. We've had over 20-odd young people running around, videoing, doing all sorts of great stuff at this event, and it's been fabulous to have them there. We're very clear it was about youth workers. But there are no youth workers without young people. So you have to place those young people at their heart. So Lane also touched briefly on Youth Work Week, which we've been running Youth Work Week for a long time. And you're the first to know the theme for this year's Youth Work Week, if you wish. Ooh. Oh, come on. A bit more exciting. Ooh. And Youth Work Week 2023 is really simple. It's youth work in every place and space. because actually youth work is a place-based profession. We are out in communities, we are on the streets, we are in the schools, we are in wherever young people are, we are there. And actually creating the space for that to happen and creating the opportunities for young people to connect and engage with great youth workers is what policymakers need to get, focus on. It's what funders need to get their act together around. It's what we need to remove those barriers to collaboration and to share and to bring that together. So yeah, the theme for this year's Youth Work Week will be youth work in every place and space, and we will continue to work with the Commonwealth to share tools, resources and information that everybody can use.